Hey everyone, it is Thursday, and I can't say happy Thursday today only because of what I'm going to share. It is a good Thursday, praise the Lord, but the content I'm going to share today does not make it for a very happy Thursday for me, because I have been doing research and reading and watching podcasts this week, and so I was not looking forward to doing this only because the content is so heavy, and I'm trying to be very careful how I share this. I want to do it. I just was not looking forward to it because I know the toll that this could take on people if once I share and you hear what I have to say. It's a very heavy topic, but it's one that we need to talk about. It's one that needs to be shared. Parents, guardians, grandparents, absolutely need to know about this group. So I'm going to share a lot of information today about what this group does. I had heard about this group back, 2 months ago, but I did not give myself the time enough to research it up until recently. And when I started hearing it, I was in shock. I was in disbelief. I knew that they were a sinister group. What I did not know is how sinister, how evil, the intentions of the group. As you know, I do a lot of reading on predators, pedophiles that target kids. And so I've read a lot, I've seen a lot, I've heard a lot, but when I started researching this group, I was blown away. I was like, I thought I knew the type of evil that was out there, but this is just another level. And so I prayed, and I was like, we need to talk about this. One thing I have noticed when it comes to these kinds of topics is people don't want to hear it, which is, I don't understand why. People don't want to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it, and I pray that you open up your eyes and your hearts to see the dangers of this group for your children. They are purposely on a mission to hurt your children. So our children. So I pray that you take this serious, that you don't dismiss it, that you look into this group. I put in links in the description. One is a journalist who started investigating this group, I believe, last year. And then another one is an article about what happened to a teenager in Washington back in 2022. And so if you read that article, you will see just the depths of evil this group goes to hurt children. I'm going to read a few snippets from that post or from that article, just so you have an idea. And I am going to share a lot of information today that you guys need to know. You need to know what is being done on the internet. A lot of parents think that these games like Roblox and Minecraft, or allowing their kids to be on social media, is not a danger, but it is an absolute danger. With this group, we've known for a while that we need to monitor social media, our children's social media, but once I read about this group, you really need to, if possible, take social media away from your children. Take these games that I put in the description away from your children, because these predators from this group are purposely going into the chat rooms to groom and lure your child to hurt themselves. So I'm just going to show or read a lot of facts. I put the links in the description so that you guys can take the time to research. I will say pray before, because like I said, when I started listening and reading what they were doing, I had to take a step back and say like, oh my gosh, Lord, I don't even know what to do with that. But God is good, and this is why I do these type of videos, because I want you guys to know. I want your kids to be safe. I want our children to be protected, and it is our job as adults to protect our children. They are our most valuable asset, and so we need to protect them, and that's why I'm on here. Alright, so group 764 is like I put in the description, is just a teen-run sextortion cult group. It is a cult. It is run primarily by teenagers. It was started by a teenager back in 2021, I believe. There are some people in this group that are in their young 20s, but it is primarily a group run by teens. It's a sextortion cult group. It's targeting kids on Roblox, Minecraft, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Discord, all social media, Telegram. I did want to highlight Roblox and Minecraft. If your kids are on that, my high recommendation is get them off it. Find them a new game, because they are on there on purpose, on Roblox, looking for children. There was a post that was shown that clearly showed where they said Roblox has basically an infinite amount of kids they can choose from. So they are going on there to look for kids to exploit. Okay, so this group was started by Bradley Cadenhead, and he was in Texas back in August, I believe, of 2021. He was in Stephenville, Texas. He's the one that started this group. He himself was exploited when he was playing Minecraft. So the people that hurt him and exploited him came in a chat room in Minecraft. And after he went through that exploitation, and the ideologies of the people that hurt him come from ideologies of extreme hate. I'm gonna leave it at that. Extreme hate. And they prey on the weak in society. We'll get into that. So this 15-year-old got hurt, and then he decided to start this group. And he was arrested, I believe, back in 2022. If you Google his name, you'll see that. And they found countless videos and graphic material and child porn on his laptop, and he had followers. So how this group works is, and you're going to hear me repeat this similar things throughout the video, but how this group works is they are basically in competition. Okay. Well, let me take a step back. When he got arrested, that ended the group. But because he already had followers, the spin-off groups were created. So that's why group 764 is still active, even though he is in jail. But there's other groups out there besides group 764. This is just the one that is known. But there's other groups similar to this one that are doing what this group is doing. Okay. Let's see. So what they do is they will compete against each other. The users in this group will look for victims. They will target victims that are vulnerable, that have mental health issues, that struggle with self-esteem, and they will look for them, and then they will groom them. They will pretend to care for them, love them, be their friend, show them that they're interested in what they want to do, and that's to hook them in. And then once they're hooked, then they start manipulating them to get them to do things that they want done. Very gorish things, graphic things, which I'm going to talk about, and things that just, it's going to blow your mind. Okay, so, and then they compete against each other. Whoever can create the most graphic content from their followers, because all the people in this group are looking for followers. So whoever can have their followers create the most graphic content, they'll go up in rank. So this is a game to them. That's why this is so evil and dangerous. This is a game to them. They are out there seeking to hurt your children on purpose to gain clout. And okay, so some of the things they do to the children is they. Give me one moment. They have the kids cut themselves. So these individuals in the group, they all have usernames. So one of the common things that they do is they have the kids carve the user's name into some part in their body. It's a common theme amongst the perpetrators. They will have your children get a box cutter, get something to cut themselves, a razor. And we're not talking about a small cut. Like these perpetrators are having your children deeply carve into their body the username's name. So that's part of like the branding. Okay, so like that follower now belongs to me, and they share those pictures with each other of, look, this child just carved my name into their chest, into their leg, into their arm. So now your child will be permanently scarred. Then like the founder of the group, he had one of his followers carve into her body, Brad is a god. Let's see. And on live stream, I do want to add that they are getting together in a chat room, and so there's multiple viewers. So when the children are being hurt or are being manipulated into doing something, there's other viewers watching that. So it's live stream. And I heard some of the live streams that were being done, and you could hear them laughing. You could hear them, enjoying what they were seeing being done on camera. Let's see. One of them was one of the followers was told to stomp the head of a person, of a lady. So they had this on camera where he literally stomped her head until she died. It was an elderly lady, and that happened in Europe, and that was all on camera. And the reason he did that follower did that, was to prove that he was worthy of being part of this group. So the perpetrators make you feel like you need to, if you want to be part of that, if you want to be accepted, you need to do these things, or else, you're excluded, you're out. So one of the things he did was he stomped this woman to death. There's several child porn, rape. They have you kill animals. If you have pets, they have you kill your pets. They have you do extreme gore. All live. There was one case where they had one of the followers beat his brother till he was black and blue, like completely beat him on camera. Okay. One of the things that one of the followers said, there are hundreds of minors at his whim, and I believe that was the founder of this group that said that. Let's see. The founder also created a Bible on how to groom children. So again, it's a competition between the groomers to consume and generate the most violent, visceral, and sensationalist content. So whoever can do the most extreme content, most violent content, goes up in ranks. This group is now been declared by the Department of Justice that it is the fastest growing domestic terror threat of 2025. So this is recent, guys. This is not something that's back from like 10 years ago. This is now. We just went into 2026, so this is happening now. Let's see. Animal cruelty. So they suicide. They want you to. One of the main goals, so the ultimate goal, is if you can get someone to commit suicide on camera. That is like the gold mine to them. So they have this manual that will, and I'm going to put the pictures of that in the description, because all the pictures I'm going to post, it came from their actual chat rooms, like their group. They actually, I think they have a website. I don't know if it's a website that's accessible to the public, but the pictures I post will be pictures from their group, from what they are teaching, how you can hurt a child, how you can manipulate a child, how you can groom a child. And their ultimate goal is one of their ultimate goals is to have a child commit suicide. They try to outdo each other in depravity. There's already several cases where underage teens have killed themselves on camera. That link in the description of the Washington Post, that was one of the first teenagers, because that happened back in 2022, I believe. One of the first cases that were discovered here in the United States. Okay, let's see. Alright, the target victim average age group is 9 to 17. That is who they're targeting. So if you have a child in that age group, they are looking to target your child. They don't have, so the people that are actually working on cases like this and are doing the research and are helping law enforcement with bringing this group down, he didn't have an actual number, but there's an estimate that there's at least 20,000 members in this group, and that's a low estimate, that are constantly looking for kids. Okay, some other statistics, so you understand the seriousness of how fast this is accelerating. In 2024, and this is from the National, I think, Missing and Exploited Children website, National Center, I think, yeah, it's the NCMCH. I'd have to look that up, but it's from their website that in 2024 they had 292,951 cases of children being exploited online, and that was for the whole year of 2024. But as of January through June 2025, they had 518,720 cases of children of online exploitation. So in only half the year, the cases went up compared to the whole year of 2024. So that should give you an idea of how fast this is growing. I didn't get a chance to look at the numbers for the whole year for 2025. But that is a huge increase. So they are out there. Okay. I want to give a little history on why this is such a dangerous group, because of the background. So the group that hurt, manipulated, and groomed Bradley Cadenhead, the founder of Group 764 in Texas, the people that hurt him are tied to the Order of Nine Angels, which is a group stemming back, I believe, from the 70s. I should have wrote that down. And they are also somehow attached to a group called No Lives Matter. So look up those groups, the O9A, which is the Order of Nine Angels. Look up No Lives Matter. Those groups are the ones that groomed the founder of Group 764. And so the ideologies they have is, let's see, I wrote that down. It is to subvert society, to get rid of Christian Judeo way of life, and to influence and subvert so much so to have enough people to do culling. If you don't know what culling is the act or process of selecting and removing desirable or undesirable individuals from a group. And so to go out and murder people, basically to go out and murder the weak. So think about The Purge. That's the mindset, the movie The Purge. That is what they're desiring to do. If they can subvert society through hurting children, that's just one of the ways, in order to get enough people in society to get away from a Christian Judeo way of life, which is what the United States has. We were founded on Christian Judeo biblical values. They can subvert that society and influence it to no longer basically follow God, to no longer believe in God, and to believe in nothing. Then the mindset will change to they can influence that mindset that doesn't believe in God to do acts like culling. So that's why this group is so dangerous, because it is founded, or it has roots with this type of ideology. They predators and pedophiles in themselves are dangerous enough because they've been hurt, so now they're hurting children, because they've been hurt, and it's a cycle. However, this group has an agenda. That's why it's different. A pedophile, his agenda is to hurt kids through, I mean, not minimizing it all at all, because if you know me, you know that I don't minimize any type of child abuse, but it's from cycles of being broken. It's from cycles of it was most likely done to them. Yes, they can also be very hateful, but this is now a group that has an agenda to change society so that they can accomplish their ultimate goal, which is where they can go out and murder people. And who are they murdering? They are selecting the weak. They are selecting people they think in their eyes is weak, is vulnerable, is not fit to be in society. They are targeting a lot of minorities. They are targeting anyone who struggles with self-esteem. So that's why this group is so dangerous. They believe that if you do these violent acts, you can be transformed into a higher form of self. So that's why they push such violence. That's why they want to murder, because murder is the ultimate violent act. So if you can do that, you become this person that's elevated and transformed into a higher being. Um, it's recreational evil, abuse that elevates you to a higher being. Okay, so understand that there is a purpose as why they're harming your children. That's why they are going after the weak. No Lives Matter has an ideology to prove themselves that they have to kill. Some of the things that happened in Europe back in 2021 was a guy went out and stabbed a woman. This was again live stream, and he was telling the viewers that he was going to go stab a woman with a knife. And so you could hear, because I heard it, I heard that they were presenting it on the podcast. I heard where they were saying, one of the viewers was saying, show me, and he was actually quite excited about that. Like he was looking forward to seeing this woman be stabbed to death, and which he did. He ended up doing it. The people that are doing the acts, they're doing it to feel accepted, which is why they're choosing children that are vulnerable. They're choosing children that have lacked love, that have lacked being accepted, that have been neglected, that are going through extreme distress in their lives. One of the girls that was in the earlier years when this started, that was chosen is because she was going through a breakup, and so she wanted a place to fit in because she didn't, she was feeling alone. And so it was actually, I think, Bradley, the founder of 764, that messaged her, and he had her do things like cut herself and stuff. And it's the reason she testified, the reason she did it was because she was feeling alone from that breakup, and she was just looking for someone to hang out with, or connect with online. And she did read what this group was about, because again, I think once you get into these certain places in the chat room, you can see what the group is about. They invite you to join, and so she did read that it has some of these ideologies, but because she was so desperate to connect with someone, she did it anyways. And it wasn't until once she was in it that she realized she didn't want to be a part of it anymore. There was another scenario where a girl was, her parents were going through a divorce, and because they were going through a divorce, she felt isolated, she felt alone. So that perpetrator actually got her to kill herself on camera. So the father was testifying of what happened to his daughter. And so let's see. It's a hierarchy of cruelty. There's another incident where a 14-year-old in Sweden. Okay, guys, these are teenagers doing these acts. Keep that in mind. They're not adults. They're teenagers. The guy that stomped the woman to death, he was 17. Bradley, the founder of the group that connected with that girl I just talked about, not the one that committed suicide, the other one, he's 15. This other girl who was 12, she was being groomed by, I think that one was one of the cases where he was actually an adult. He was 20. But they're being done by teenagers. So this 14-year-old, he was doing unprovoked knife attacks in public on camera. There was another teenager that was planning a bomb attack at a Lady Gaga concert in Brazil. The Abundant Life Church shooting in Wisconsin in 2024, those were done by teenagers. So they are getting indoctrinated in order to fit in so that they can belong somewhere. Let's see. That 12-year-old actually got abducted in Canada, and there she got raped on camera, and that video got circulated. And so it was, as she was getting violated, it was live streaming. there's lots of cutting. One of the things, the other part of their ideology is it's a nihilistic mindset, which means rejecting all religious and moral principles in the belief that life is meaningless. So that's what the perpetrators in these groups believe. They have that mindset, that to reject all religious and moral principles, because if they can groom children and indoctrinate children to not believe in God, to not have morals, then they can turn a society, which is their greater goal, to they can turn a society and influence society to subvert the society, so that they have enough people to do the culling, to go out and murder people. Again, think like the movie The Purge. So that is the danger of this group. That's why this was so unfathomable to watch. All the research I've been doing, this is why it is so important that you monitor what your children are doing, that you monitor their games, their chat rooms. It's not about, is my child gonna get mad, like my child gonna get bored. Like you gotta think that these perpetrators are looking for children to hurt, so that they can hurt them to the point that the society turns into a non-Christian society. And that's not just in the United States, that's like global. These groups are global. I'm going to read some of the pictures I was talking about. I'm going to put them in the description, but I just want you to have an idea of what they are doing. Let's see if I can find it. And I'm going to read a little bit about the teenager that committed suicide online in Washington. Let's see. So, okay. So one of the things is that they were doing is they were selling children. There's an ad, I'll post that in the description, of a girl who was for sale, who's 11, and she was being sold for $1,200. And she had already lost her virginity. Let's see. There's a picture where I was saying that one of the users were saying there isn't a drought. There's a drought of kids on Roblox. And let's see. Okay, this is from one of the perpetrators. He said, little information about how... Okay, so keep in mind that they create profiles on their websites, on these chat rooms. They have profiles of what they're looking for or who they are, and this is one of them. It says, little information about how I started this. I've always been a psychopath and always wanted to watch girls inflict pain upon themselves for me. My earliest cut sign I ever got was a single K back in 2016. Over the years, I've stopped taking breaks, come back on new aliases, but I have a total of over 2,600 plus groomed victims. My goal is to reach 3,000 before I get feted. I can't remember what feted means, but it's not good. So there's not a date on this, but as of the time this perpetrator wrote this, he had over 2,600 groomed kids, which means he already had a way to he had already indoctrinated their mind. that should give you an idea of how many that they're not. That should give you an idea of how frequently this is happening. This is their goal. This is their main goal, is to hurt children. They have rankings on their victims. So it says, choose this age if you are specifically seeking young victims who can be controlled for a long time. So this is in their manual. Like if you are looking, let's see. If you are looking for someone who can be controlled for a long time, you need to look for a 14-year-old. And then they have little stars, so that it's 1 through 5 stars. The victim reaches a 3-star. Receiving nudes from a 14-year-old is a 3-star. Success, that's something, they blocked it out, but you have a 5-star success of getting this from the victim. Long-term, a 14-year-old will be a long-term victim. That's a 4-star. So they are teaching them what to look for. Okay. Let's see. This handbook is a comprehensive guide that provides deep insights into the tactics and strategies that can be used to blackmail and exploit victims, primarily through the use of compromising photos or videos. It delves into aspects of coercion and highlights the various methods to maintain control, instill fear, and coerce victims into complying with the perpetrator's demands. Additionally, it offers step-by-step instructions for everything there is to know about carrying out a successful, it's blanked out, scheme, from identifying potential targets to executing the blackmail process to creating convincing fake identities, maintaining anonymity online, monetizing and safely storing blank content, ensuring that the perpetrator remains untraceable. This is not a handbook to teach victims how to protect themselves or seek help, but rather to teach perpetrators how to locate and exploit their victims. So my dear reader, if you choose to go further, it is at your own risk. You've been warned. But on the other side, you may find a way to unleash your deepest desires. We can all only hope, right? So this is a prologue to their manual. And as you can see, they're teaching other teenagers how to locate and exploit victims. They are looking for your child. Okay. Okay, some statistics, 96% of U.S. teens use internet every day. 47% of U.S. girls 13 to 15 use it constantly. 44% of U.S. boys use it constantly. That's from the Pew Research Center. Okay, here is Bible Made by Nikita Kovlokin. So again, just information. Go on pretty much any social media, Discord, Telegram, Instagram, etc. Find any alt girl, a girl who seems emotionally weak and vulnerable. Get her information. Use her information against her. Alternative approach. This is like a 1, 2, 3, 4. Approach her in a friendly manner and drop subtle hints like calling her. Number 4, and they highlighted this, gain her trust. Make her feel comfortable doing anything for you. Make her want to cut for you by getting to her emotions and making it seem like you're the only person she could ever need in her life. That's grooming. And if you are a teenage girl, or even a teenage boy, because teenage boys want love and acceptance too, and manipulate your emotions, you will do whatever that person wants. That's just psychology 101. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna reiterate just like I said, I'm going to emphasize this. Number one, this is again part of their manual. Find vulnerable victims on sites like Roblox and Minecraft. Number two is, that's number three. It's number two. Number two, move conversations to private chat rooms and offer membership in the community. So it's in the chat rooms where they offer the membership. Number three is love bomb them. That's, if you haven't heard that term, look it up, but basically it just means you like pour on the love, you know, the flattery, the I'll do anything for you, you're the only one, like all that stuff. Okay, and then this last one. Okay, this is from Barbara Molas, R.A.N.D. Europe. When 764 was only about child sexual abuse material, their targets tended to be women, but specifically women from diminished social groups who were seen as the weak part of society. That ideal of imposing violence on this part of society has carried on and become more violent. So now it's boys and girls. I think he was targeting, the founder of Group 764 was targeting teenage girls, but now it's expanded to target both. And I did want to mention there was, they also go into mental health groups. So if there's like a mental health support group online or a chat room, they will go into that because that is what they're looking for. They're looking for the weak. They're looking for the lost, the vulnerable, the desperate. Most teenagers are in that category, unfortunately, children as well, because we've neglected our children, unfortunately. So, okay, I'm going to end with this story. Again, I put the link in the description. You can read it for yourself. But this is the story of, it's in the Washington Post. He was 13. He hung himself with a white extension cord. He used it to hang himself from a black chain link fence. And there was a iPhone propped up on the ground and its camera pointed at the teen's body. So this is, again, like they want you to do this on camera. The perpetrator that was trying to get him to do this at one point said, why don't you do it naked? It's hotter, it's hotter to kill yourself if you do it naked. But I don't think he did it, but he did end up committing suicide. Let's see. It's a long article, but I'm trying to highlight what they did to him. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Jay's death was connected to these emerging groups. One of the most violent and extreme is known as 764. Named for part of the zip code of a Texas boy who founded it in 2021 at the age of 15. Its members, authorities said, often seek out victims as trophies to gain clout and notoriety. Some members see their mission as weeding out society's weakest, which they deem to include mentally ill, gay, or transgender youths. Teenage girls are high on their list. So this basically talks about the challenge that the FBI agents went through to find out who had done this to this boy. One of the FBI, let's see. the lack of any kind of mercy for this kid, the manipulation they used was shocking. Again, that's why this was so hard to do today, because the things I've heard and watched and read, there is no empathy, there's there's nothing. They just don't care. They don't care to hurt people. Okay, let's see. He had a hard time. The detective had a hard time getting help. Actually, I think he was an FBI agent. I'm sorry. Had a hard time getting help from the bureau, which is actually another issue that I was learning about. That even though all this is online, the systems in place, the law enforcement systems in place, are not putting in their best effort to find these predators, and so it leaves your child more at risk, because if there's not a push to do something about it through law enforcement in our government, then your child is more vulnerable of being another victim to these groups. So it is really the responsibility of the adults in a child's life to safeguard them, because if something does happen to them, it's not there's a lot of bureaucracy involved to try to bring justice to your child. So parents, it really is up to you guys. Let's see. Okay. So he was going through a hard time. He struggled with mental health during the pandemic. He became anorexic and depressed at age 11. He was cutting himself. So again, this was a child who was vulnerable. Let's see. The parents did take away his phone. They tried to put systems to keep their child safe. But he was saying, I need you to watch me. I need you to take my phone. And there, I did notice that another child, after I read this, that there was another child that she didn't want, I think it was a 12-year-old, like she didn't want to be online anymore. So they, pay attention to your children if they're speaking out. Like, it's not easy to come out and say, I'm being extorted, I'm being blackmailed. But if they're telling you, I don't want to be around the internet, pay attention to that. There was another common theme I found in the victims is, after they had been manipulated for a while, you could hear them on camera saying, please leave me alone, I don't want to do this anymore. And so that's why some of these teens are committing suicide. That's why some of these teens feel like they don't have hope, because they're not being left alone. This one like made me cry, and it wasn't even graphic, but it was about the emotional manipulation. The perpetrators, there was 2 of them, and again being live streamed, and they were telling her to cut off her ponytail. And guys might not understand that, but girls, our hair is very important to us, and so for most girls, and so this girl didn't want to cut her hair, and she was like, I will do anything else, but don't ask me to cut my ponytail. And they were like pushing her, and they had already had material on her that they were using to extort her and manipulate her. And so they were telling her, if you don't do this, we're going to send it. And she was like, please leave me alone, I don't want to do this. And they're like, okay, we're going to send it. And I assumed they were showing the action that they were going to do that, because then she's like, okay, I'll do it. And she did it, and you could hear her in sobs, crying, that she just did something she didn't do. And but she was like, please leave me alone, so these your teenagers are going through stuff that you might not even know they're going through. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to their behavior. Jay's parents noticed a change in him prior to his death. So you gotta pay attention to those changes of behavior in your child. If they don't want to get off the internet, sometimes it's the opposite. They don't want to get off the internet because they're so addicted. They're so, your child might be turning for the worst. It might be the opposite, that they're now being groomed to be a perpetrator, and that's also what they're doing. I forgot to mention that they are grooming children and teens to be like them, so that they can have more perpetrators online in order to go after more children. And that's the same concept in child sex trafficking. Or sex trafficking in general, they will groom the victim to become a groomer. And that's what they're doing here too. They're grooming them to do these type of things to other children. So if you see a change in behavior where your child doesn't want to get off the internet, is addicted to it, ask yourself why. What is that? It doesn't hurt to look into it. Okay. Alright, so let's see. This one was an Instagram group chat. So he actually committed suicide on Instagram. Let's see. Right, this is just the struggle the FBI agent went to try to arrest the person that did this. Okay, the perpetrator of Jay, he described himself as an e-girl groomer. I assume E is emo girl, e-girl groomer, extorter, pedophile. That's his description on his profile. He bragged. This was like, it's scary. He bragged on forums of having terabytes. If you don't know what a terabyte is, look it up. It's a device that can hold like basically unlimited amounts of data. And so he had terabytes of child pornography, and of coercing underage girls to send new photos, and bullying unstable kids into doing what he wanted. He said, "When I see a loser guy degrade himself, I get hard." Let's see. I'm reading these things because I want you to understand what they're thinking, like the danger of their mindset. Like, this is what your kids are potentially being exposed to. So they gained access through this perpetrator's files, and what they found was videos and chats with mentally vulnerable children and teens, but also personal images of the perpetrator. Let's see. He often wooed mentally ill girls with love and attention on Discord, Instagram, and Telegram, then allegedly blackmailed them with photos and videos they sent him. There was a 12-year-old girl who carved a heart into her right thigh for him. The suicidal 13-year-old who repeatedly cut into her breast. A 15-year-old anorexic girl coerced into inserting a folding knife into her genitals. An 11-year-old girl blackmailed into self-harming sexual acts until visibly smeared with blood. He shared recordings of their mutilation and gleefully proud messages with other 764 members.
You have no new messages.
Go away. To show off, he invited others into group chats and forced his victims to cut visiting 764 members' names into their skin as well. Let's see. At his request, this 12-year-old girl who was depressed repeatedly cut herself and wrote out his name with her blood. That's another thing they're doing, is when they're having you cut yourself, or the child cut themselves, because again, these are deep cuts. These are not just surface level cuts. They are digging deep into their skin. They're bleeding. So they'll ask they'll ask the victim to take that blood and like write their name on the walls or write their name in the blankets. One of the victims I mentioned earlier, she actually, her sheets, because she was on talking to him in her bed, her sheets and her blankets were covered in blood from the cutting. And then they have pictures of that blood. They'll have the username's name written out, have like sadistic messages written out, or they'll have satanic symbols like the pentagram drawn out. Like they'll make the victims do that with their own blood. Let's see, in another act captured on video, the perpetrator commanded her, the same 12-year-old, to crush a small bird, dissect it with trembling hands, and present it to him on a sheet with his name on it and a heart painted on it. But the one demand that girl refused to carry out was killing herself. So he kept pressing her. He kept trying to convince her to commit suicide, but she wouldn't do it. So because she didn't do it, let's see. He convinced the girl to look for someone else to do it in her place. So let that sink in. So this perpetrator was trying to get this 12-year-old girl to commit suicide, but because she wasn't willing to do it, he manipulated her and convinced her that she had to find someone else to commit suicide in her place, which she did, and that was this boy Jay. Jay, the boy from Washington, befriended the 12-year-old girl, and it started because he was looking for new friends because he was transgender, so he was looking for transgender friends who were interested in crafts, so that he wasn't looking for anything perverse. He was looking, because he used to do crafts, and so he wasn't looking for anything evil. He was looking for a friend to do crafts with, and he wrote, "I had a sudden urge to get a pen pal, so here I am." That post is what cost him his life, because the 12-year-old girl who wasn't willing to commit suicide befriended him and was trying to convince him to commit suicide. And so he went on to say, let's see, when the conversation turned to self-harm, Jay said repeatedly he didn't want to commit suicide, and he said, "I got some stuff going on that I want to live for, LOL." He apologized several times. Among his more than 36 messages that night, explaining that he was no longer interested in harming himself, but something the other person said later on appeared to change his mind, and then he said, "I'll think about it. It's only 2:30, and my mom wakes up at 5, so I got some time to think." So, basically, she convinced him, and the original perpetrator got on there and basically walked him through the rest of the suicide, and he convinced him to do it. So I think that's it. So I want you to understand, guys, that they are on a mission. They really are on a mission. They are not going to stop until they get what they want. And you also have to keep in mind they're not stopping at one. You know, if they get one to again, the ultimate act is to get someone to take their life. If they do that, they just go on to the next person until they get that person to commit suicide. So it's ongoing, because the agenda, like I said, is to subvert society, is to influence society, is to change society, and not just in this nation, across the world. They want to change society as a whole into what they want. And the way they're doing that is through hurting children. Because like I said in the beginning, children are our most valuable assets, and they are the future generation. So if they can corrupt the generation in this way, mentally and psychologically change them to a way where they don't care anymore, that they have this nihilistic mindset where nothing matters and everything is irrelevant. That's what they're looking to do with your children. Then that does have the possibility to change a society. So this is why you need to watch what your children are doing online, and you also need to, if you are a believer, pray for your children, pray for your families that are not believers, because I have heard of families that are Christian and their family members are not, and they're letting their children play on these games. And I did forgot to mention that Roblox is the #1 child game in the world. So that's how big Roblox is. So these perpetrators going on there have a major pool to pick from, unfortunately, because it is the #1 child game in the world. And remember, their target age is 9 to 17. So if your child is on Roblox, get them off. But if you have family members that, don't believe, like, again, talking to a believer, and you have family members that are not believers, definitely pray for them. Pray for the children. If they're your family members, the children are related to, pray for them. I put the description in the link so that you can do your own investigating. Look at the podcast, look at the videos, read the article. Understand, it's not me saying this. This is out there. It's proven. It's happening right now. So take that information and share it with those family members. I know a few people that have their kids on Roblox. I started sending them the links, sending my own children the links because I have grandchildren. And so get the word out there. Keep your children safe. Let people know this is not hype. This is an agenda to hurt and literally kill your children through online, and they want the world to see it. So, all right, guys. God bless you. Pray for your families. Pray for your children. I can't emphasize that enough. This got me praying a lot more for my own children and grandchildren. We need Jesus now more than ever. We are going to need Jesus now more than ever. This world has gotten very, very evil. And keep in mind, they have satanic roots too. The foundation of this group, the roots are also satanic. So that should tell you right there what their agenda is. Okay, God bless you. I love you guys, and I will see you on Tuesday. Bye.